What's up? It's Lance. I'm back with another interview, but we're in person this time. And this is Ava Knapp. She actually attended my high school, St. Joseph Ogden. And next year, she'll be running at the University of Gonzaga. She got fifth at this year's cross country state championships. She ran 17:48, and that was pretty awesome. She was running, what, 22:48, isn't that right?
Yeah,
As a freshman.
yeah, in the 20s.
That's pretty awesome. And then she got fourth, well, she was a part of the team that got fourth at this year's track and field championships in the state of Illinois in our 4x8, so that's pretty awesome. And then she's the founder of Midwest Wildwood. Go check them out on Instagram at Midwest Wildwood Running. No capitals, no spaces. It's a long username, and make sure you DM her and tell her that it's a long username. But how's the day been so far?
My day's been pretty good. I did the town SGO 5K, which was a lot of fun, and then I slept by the pool, so that was pretty nice.
Did you do anything else except the 5K?
I went shopping for dorm supplies for my college, and we're gonna shove it in carry-on bags to take out there
how,
in a few weeks.
how many carry-ons do you have then?
I think we get unlimited through the airline we're flying out of, so we're just gonna use as many as we can.
Gotcha. So you're one of the most successful female athletes that have walked the halls of St. Joe. How did that happen? How did you find success?
I think it starts with being able to enjoy running as a sport. Um, I was never very talented at it. I started in middle school, but it was so fun that I just wanted to do it all the time. And then when I got to high school, it started to click to me that I could actually maybe be good at this thing, and that if I stuck with it and did what my coaches told me to do, I could find improvement. And when I found that improvement, I kept trying to dig for more and see what more I could do. By my sophomore year, when COVID hit, I watched my teammates who were seniors at the time lose their opportunity for a state championship meet for track, and I knew that it wasn't about me anymore, and so I made my purpose getting out the door for them. And from then on, I've just been really focused on being the best that I can be and putting in as much work as I can while staying healthy, and I think that's been a good balance and helped me get to where I am.
So how did you stay motivated during COVID?
Jillian Plattner is kind of a big reason. I watched them like literally cry in the library. I will never forget it when we found out that we weren't going to have a track season and they were seniors. And our circles were small. It was my family and her family agreed that we wouldn't like go see anybody else do anything else, but we would allow us to run together in the mornings. So every day I'd get out the door and I'd go run with Jillian Plattner, and at the time, she was tremendously faster than me. I could never keep up, but I'd go out and hang on as long as I can every day, and every day it got a little bit easier. And I'd just be inspired by her. We'd do time trials and like run our own little track season, and she kind of like opened my eyes to what maybe would be possible for me, and so I just kind of stuck with it from there.
So would you say the consistency of running with her helped?
I would say consistency is probably key.
Jay Johnson, go read the book. Who has been some of your most positive influences you've had in your running career?
Man, I have had a lot kind of pop up in my life. It's been a crazy last few years. I would say my junior and senior year were kind of transformational for me, just for the support system I had. Super close with my high school coach, which is his dad, and I would ask him like questions for hours about the sport, about life. And he was super supportive to me and helped me get to where I am and be more knowledgeable about the sport as a whole. I met Marie over COVID year. They asked me to do a clinic. Okay, sorry. Marie is one of the co-founders of Wildwood Running, which is stationed out in Portland, Oregon. Robin McGillis is also another co-founder. So Robin McGillis and Marie Markham Davis are both really powerful female coaches in the running community, and I look up to them a lot. And I got connected to them through Wildwood over Zoom, actually, and so they were super supportive of me, and they would cheer me on at my meets even if they weren't there, and that was huge. And I started making friends with like the coaches. Ironically, I connected to adults more than I did kids, and it's funny, but at the same time I learned a lot from them. And then a lot of girls in the area I started to get more familiar with and friendly with, just because we shared the same like passion for the sport, and so I definitely leaned on them too.
So was your first time meeting Marie in person when Lincoln came to Detweiler?
Yes. Wait. I'm trying to. Yes, it was. Okay, because I met Marie a few times now, but the first time was when they flew out to compete um, at our Detweiler course. I forget which Detweiler meet it was. You probably wouldn't know because you weren't there yet. But they flew out to compete. We brought chairs for them in tents, and I remember being so scared of the Lincoln girls because they looked so incredibly intimidating to the point where I didn't even like go say hi. And I'm a pretty friendly person, but I was like, these people look intense. And so I took a step back and I did say hi to Marie. And ironically, now I know most of the girls on the Lincoln team, and Kendall York is one of my closest buddies now, and we're going to be teammates in the fall. So I think that's pretty funny.
She actually did have the blessing of being able to run with Kendall. Would you explain how it's different running with Kendall out in Oregon than it is with someone else here?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to train for about a month out in Oregon with Kendall and her family. Like, let me stay at their house. Kendall was just so fun to train with, and she had this like fire and passion for running that like I related to in such like a unique way. So we were very similar personalities. And she's extremely talented. So every day I'd go out and I'd be like, I know this is easy for her, but I'm gonna stick with her and I'm gonna try to make this run as enjoyable and challenging for her as well. And so I would go out and try to run as fast as I could to make it moderately difficult for her. But it was really enjoyable, and like I just loved her fire for the sport.
How did you know which direction to go with your training? No offense, but obviously you weren't that knowledge at the time,
No.
and your knowledge now has grown tremendously. How would you say you knew which way to go?
Well, originally, when I was in middle school, there was this period in my life where I got hurt and I watched all my friends go to state, and I really wanted that. So I just started to run on my own. I decided that if I wanted it, I would have to work harder than everyone else. And that kind of mentality carried me through my freshman year. My freshman year, I think I was like the 12th or 3rd girl for the team. I was an alternate at the state meet, and I wanted to be better than that. And I knew that my teammates, just like in my class, were more talented. They were able to run faster than me, so I knew if I wanted to be quicker, then I'd have to put in a little bit more work, and I was willing to do that. And then over time, I started to ask my coach, like, okay, like I want to do everything, and he kind of explained to me that like everything isn't always better, and so I made him like explain that to me because in my mind everything has to be better. And so I needed him to explain to me why I couldn't go out and do um, these miles, or why I couldn't lift every day of the week until I couldn't walk. And he had to explain to me the science behind all those things, and I think that's kind of where my knowledge started to grow.
So remember, she was the 12th or 3rd fastest girl on the team to the second fastest we've ever had in St. Joe. That's that's pretty awesome. How did you get your start with Midwest Wildwood and the original Portland PDX?
Yeah, so my junior year, my coach kind of talked to us as a group and asked if anyone would be interested in doing a presentation with him on leadership. And a few girls I think were interested, but I definitely really wanted to do it, and so I reached out. And however it worked out, I was blessed to have that opportunity, and so I worked on a presentation with Coach Retz for like quite a few months to like make sure it was all set. And at the time, I didn't know what Wildwood was. I went to the virtual clinic, obviously, since I was in it. I watched all the other Zoom presentations because it was like free entry, so like why not? And I was kind of blown away at the information I was hearing. I'd never heard it before, I'd never heard it from that perspective, and I knew that our team would be better if they heard it too. So when I brought it back to them, I was like hit like a train when I realized that all these girls were like struggling with the same things. There's a lot that goes on in the running community that's not really talked about, and this was just an organization like dedicated to like educating people so that we could be better people and better runners. And when I realized like how much it was needed in my own community, I kind of like had this moment where I'm like, okay, like you can really just sit back and like use this information and help your girls on your team, or you can like kind of adopt this like crazy running lady role, and just go all in and see what you can do for everyone around you. Because at this point, I had made friends with a lot of girls in the area, and I knew that they probably had similar struggles. So that summer before my senior year, I talked to Marie and Robin. I worked with my coach, and we got connected to a ton of good role model coaches and athletes in the area who could help me run this thing. And we started getting together, weekly runs. We'd go get ice cream after. I'd have informational like sessions at my house. We'd go swimming in a pond nearby, play some capture the flag, a little few running activities, and then we'd come read an article from women's running and talk about why it's important that we're not worrying about like our body image, and we're focusing on making sure we're taking care of ourselves as a person. Since I'm not qualified in anything, I would bring in dietitians or registered people to talk about the topics that I wasn't necessarily qualified to talk about, but I knew like the general basics of it. And I just made sure that as a group we had a solid understanding of like what was truly important of the sport. And another piece that's super important is the fact that like having a support system of runners that actually really, really love that sport is huge. I think sometimes on my team I would tone down my passions for the sport because it was intimidating. Sometimes I was a scary leader on the team, and I have terrified girls before just by being myself, and with this group I never had to do that. I was super fiery and passionate and loud about cross country and the sport of running in general, and all these girls wanted to talk about it just as much as I did, and so it was good having that community.
So you've got to meet some awesome people throughout your experience from junior to senior year. Who are some of the awesome people that you've met, and how has they influenced you?
Through high school or even now, like over
Even
the
now.
summer? Okay. Like right now in my life, I will reflect on all the people I've met because it's been a lot. A few that come to mind, when I started going on visits over the summer or over the winter after my senior year, I met a lot of really cool people. I went out and stayed with Kendall's family without even knowing her yet. Just trusted that she was a good person and her family were good people. I met Eric Detman, which is a friend of Lance's, and he's a pretty cool dude. We had a lot of fun there. I met Marie and Robin in person. I got connected to a Portland Wildwood clinic and met all these coaches that my coach is friends with from his like weekly Zoom calls, and I got to see them in person and shake their hands and really just get to know these really good people. And so although I don't see them all the time, we have like this relationship now because of Wildwood and because of the opportunities running's brought me. Right now specifically, I am running with my role model all through middle school and high school was Chelsea Blas. She's the fastest girl to come through our school's history. She ran for University of Tennessee, and I went from like idolizing her. There's pictures of me like little Ava in middle school. They're extremely embarrassing, or I'd pull them up, of me hugging her, and she's at our middle school practice, and now I train with her every day. And I think that's an incredible, like, you get to see it start to finish, like the people that have had impact on your lives, like still being there for you. And I think that's a good reflection of the running community as a whole. And I run with Jillian now again, which is really fun. We get to kind of have a full circle moment. I also get to run with Rachel Brewer, who's a coach in the area for Uni High School. And she's great. She takes me around the U of I campus and doesn't let me get lost. And she's a rock star as well. She's a rock star, and so it's kind of fun to get to run with her, hear her stories. I just love hearing people like teach me things, and I'm excited to be a sponge next year and kind of soak everything up and just learn from incredible athletes and mentors and coaches. And I think that's my favorite thing about this sport is it provides so many opportunities for that.
So just real quick, almost all the coaches she said I have a video with, so if you're curious how they also have impacted her and maybe some of their thought process, go watch them.
I also did think of something that I can add in.
Go ahead.
Okay, so another thing that is super cool is the amount of professional athletes I've been able to meet through Wildwood. I actually this summer went on like a 7-mile run with Kate Grace, and I thought that was pretty incredible.
Were you just like starstruck for 7
Yeah,
miles?
I've met Colleen Quigley over Zoom. I've had conversations with incredible athletes, and they all have this like same mentality, and so that's really uplifting too. So I just thought that I probably should include them.
Also, my personal favorite, Robbie Andrews, she got to talk to.
Yeah.
And then also Raven Rogers.
Also talked to over Zoom.
Who else was there? There was one more. Stephanie Brown.
Courtney Ferricks in person. So, I mean, the running community, his vlog is kind of a reflection of the fact that you can reach out to people and they answer you. And I think that's huge. Like, we're all people. I'm certainly a person, but like the professional athletes, you kind of don't realize that they're like truly they want to help the sport grow, and they're pretty present in everything going on.
Also, I covered this with my past interview, Michael Mariano. He will always also be contending Gonzaga with Ava, but we covered it that it's not like reaching out to NFL players where they're obviously not going to respond with millions of followers. Runners have like 10,000 followers, and if you DM them, they might have a good shot of answering. Like, it's not uncommon. That's how I've got some of my interviews. Just reached out, just had the blessing of them answering.
Not like me. No, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
I was blown away that Ava responded. I'm glad that she got to be here. What are some of your goals with Wildwood?
Now or when I started it?
I don't know.
So originally, I explained why I started Wildwood, but I felt like there was just all this information that I needed to get out there because kids could use that, and it would just be a positive impact. And now I'm seeing that it's not just educating people, but it's creating a change, a more positive community, a more competitive one too. At the start line, I'd know everyone to my left and my right, and like there's just this excitement instead of anxious nature, and you just want to go out there and beat your friend, you know. But at the end, you're all hugging at the finish, so it created a better culture in running. I think that it can promote this sport, and COVID has really hurt people's ability to go out and try new things. I think all sports, a lot of things have been impacted in a negative way. Not everything, but sports-wise and culture-wise, it's gone a little bit downhill. And I think that a community like this one that's working on uplifting people, educating them, and like demanding change in some ways, in some aspects, can be really positive. In exciting news, we are going to try to kind of expand. Instead of just this chapter, we are going to try to include more throughout the country. I had the opportunity to be a Wildwood counselor this summer in Vernonia, Oregon. I think that's how you say it, so hopefully. And one of my campers actually reached out, and she wants to start a Wildwood chapter in Washington. And Heidi Stickler can be there, and we have a lot of good resources out there too.
Who's Heidi Stickler?
Heidi Stickler is a nutritionist that comes to a lot of the clinics, and she's an incredible lady. I really like her. And then we have one in Naperville, hopefully starting up. So 2 places in Illinois are getting it rolling, and we have a few girls that are trying to change the PDX location. It's typically like the center where the coaches have meetings and plan clinics, but they're going to try to get some more community aspects involved, more community runs, more hangouts, more of a casual, like, let's get together and share our love of running.
So now that you're a college athlete, a college runner, does your role on the team change at all, do you think?
Absolutely. I think that your role as a leader, in my presentation from a few years ago, our main point was leaders are always learning. And so, shameless plug to that one. I definitely think that's still true. And I've already kind of envisioned my role this year, like I'm going to be a sponge. And I still think I have a lot of positive qualities that I can bring to a team, but you don't have to be a leader like standing up in front and like shouting out like what we're going to do. Because truthfully, like I may know a lot about the sport of running now, and I may be more educated and more well-rounded in that way, but this college running is novel to me, and it's something that I need to sit back and be humble about and learn. And so I'm really excited to be the little kid again, not have, like, there will be tons of responsibility, but I just have to take care of myself and do everything I can for my teammates, and I'm excited for that. It's going to be a different role, but obviously over the years I definitely think it'll change.
What did you enjoy most about the sport of running?
I enjoy the fact that I can be unathletic and still make it work. I didn't have a lot of talent in like any sport, to be completely honest. I was the 8th grade water girl.
No, don't let her deceive you. She was an awesome BMX racer for
true. And I've gotten a lot better at volleyball. I play club sometimes, so like casual at the park. But
no, it's not casual. It's
hardcore. But I wasn't extremely athletic, and I love sports, and I love to compete with people, and I want to win. Like, I just have a competitive nature about me, and the sport, if you put in the work, if you're consistent with it, and it's really easy to do. It's just hard to execute.
Exactly.
And so I'm kind of a perfectionist as it is, which isn't always a good quality. But because I'm so headstrong and stubborn, I find a way to get it done, and I think that gives me an edge up on everybody else. And so it's fun to know that you can step to a starting line doing everything you absolutely can. I never have, well, I mean, sometimes, but rarely do I have like doubts in my mind because I know that each day I show up and I do the work. And I think that's kind of cool.
Almost exactly my thought process going into it. So, how do you keep your love for the sport alive? You have done it almost for a year and a half straight, 2 years now.
How long have I done the sport?
No, like how do you keep it? How do you keep
Oh.
your love alive?
Okay, yeah. I mean, you just can't take anything too seriously, and that's what my advice to Lance last week on our long run is the fact that like it's okay to have a fun run every now and then. It's okay to go get ice cream after you do a hard workout. It's okay to like stay up a little late on a Friday night because you want to go play volleyball with your friends. And I used to be so stuck up about the little details, and they're important. But if you're sacrificing your joy for the sport because you're trying to do everything perfectly, the part that sucks is that you're never going to be perfect. So if you're hanging on to perfection, you're just going to drain yourself out. So you have to understand that you're going to do your best and you're going to have fun with it. I try to run with people. The community part is enjoyable. Although if I didn't enjoy running, I think it would be quite difficult. So I think the sport of running is for people who definitely enjoy it, as it is by itself. But you can do a lot of things to incorporate fun activities and people running somewhere new on trails. Something that I found that I really love is nature, and I didn't quite realize how much I was obsessed with like the outdoors until I went out west because it's quite pretty out there.
Except goats.
Except for goats. But I really enjoy like finding like the love of running when the sun's setting or when the sun's rising, or finding good weather or a good course, or running on campus and getting lost. And I think that just finding joy in the little things is important.
What does your training look like with Gonzaga so far? You've got your training plan. What's been happening?
Yeah, so funny story. For the first few weeks, Coach Stewart didn't have our training plans out yet.
Coach Stewart
is my coach in college. Yeah, he's the women's cross country coach at Gonzaga. We didn't have a training plan until like July 20th, I think, is when it started. And so up to that point, he wanted us to just kind of like get prepared for that training. And so I was doing base training like 35 miles a week because I knew that's where I was going to start because he was building me up over the summer. And when it got started, I was like, oh yeah, man, I got this. This is so, like, this is going to be such a smooth breeze. And then we started workouts, and that was a few weeks ago. And I remember being shocked on my first workout because it was a tempo, and it was 3-mile repeats, and it was a pace I'd never done before for just like a workout. And so I had this like moment where I'm like, okay, yeah, this is what they were talking about. This is the next step. And so I did everything I could to like rethink fast and rethink what hard work is. And when I got through that week, I slept all day Saturday, and all day Sunday I was trying to recoup and get ready for the next week. And now I'm at a point where I've got a good rhythm going. I'm definitely tired by the end of the weeks. But it's a good amount of hard work. Do you want like more specifics? Because that was just like general.
So good.
Okay.
How did you connect with Coach Stewart? What was the spark with it?
Over the phone, I talked to Coach Stewart for the first time, and it was kind of funny because his intentionality with his words, he was a very thoughtful person, you could tell, and the things he said really aligned with the things that I believed and that I had been taught and learned from the sport. He sounded kind of a lot like my high school coach, which was kind of funny. And when I flew out there and I met him, it was no different. There wasn't like this change. He wasn't trying to be, you could tell he wasn't trying to be someone he wasn't. He wasn't like super enthusiastic and like in your face and like excited, but every single thing he said like had a meaning to it, and I appreciated that. And he was you could tell that he was someone that would hold you accountable and was honest. And I think those are really good traits in a coach. And even after my visit, he continued to stay in contact with me and communicate with me. And I'm the type of person who will text a coach every day with updates on how things went and if I need to adjust. And I really value that, and he does too. And I think having a coach that wants you to bug him, wants you to ask the questions is really cool, because he'll send out emails to our whole team and it'll be like, bug me, ask me the questions. Like, I'm here for you guys. Like, I want you guys to learn. And having a coach that's that invested and like wants you to be a pain in the butt is great, because I'm going to be a pain in the butt sometimes. So I appreciate that.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you to be attending the university next year?
I would say I'm a 10. I think I'm ready to go. there's a little bit of like anticipation for what will come. Like I don't know what it'll be. I do know already that my days are going to be packed. Like I have I think I have 17 credit hours going into it, which is a lot. But I just got to change my perspective on it because I think it's less than school is in high school. So I'm going to basically go to like morning classes, practice for a few hours, and then lunch, and then, finishing out my day. And as long as I just have to adjust to that. And so I'm a little bit like, I'm not nervous and I'm not worried. I'm just like in anticipation. Like I want to know what it's like. I'm ready to just get there and find out.
So there's two questions I don't tell people that we ask, and they're surprise questions.
Okay.
They're two quick ones, just quick.
All right.
What's the first one? What's your favorite dad joke?
Okay. I am already prepared because I watched the LR vlog.
Dang it.
So this one goes online. I have two good ones, but I don't know if the one is appropriate enough. So I'm not going to say that one.
If you have to.
But the good one that I came up with is what? Oh wait, I don't remember what it was. Give me a second. What? Okay. What is a goat called that works in a donut shop?
What is a goat called that works in a donut shop?
Yeah.
I don't know.
A battering ram.
All right. Well, that's the video.
Get it? Because it's a goat. It's a goat joke.
Oh, good Lord.
Sorry. I'm not very good at jokes.
Okay,
too serious.
Just real quick, I'm surprised she said that, but I'm also not surprised she come up with it because she's terrified of goats. Would you not mind explaining why?
Yeah, out in Oregon, I almost died, near-death experience. I got chased like half a mile down a dirt trail with one of my Wildwood counselors by a pack of goats. And I've never been more scared in my life. So now I have like this deep-seated fear of goats. So yeah.
All of a sudden, what if your mom bought you a goat for your birthday?
We used to have goats on our property.
Okay, what if she bought you one?
I don't know. I'm moving out, so I guess it's going to be okay.
Okay, but finally, what would you tell younger Ava if you could tell her one thing?
Okay. I would tell myself not to get so stressed about things that I didn't see coming. Because not only are they some of the best things that can happen in your life, but even the messy stuff that you don't want to happen or you think is going to be too hard to get through, it makes you a more well-rounded person. And I really think God intends for you to go through some struggles sometimes, because if life was all peach perfect and it was all good and rainbows, then you wouldn't really have you wouldn't be a well-rounded person and able to handle adversity the way I can now. So I would say try your best, Ava, not to stress out so much, because no matter what gets thrown at you is going to either teach you something or be a surprise that you're going to love 10 years down the road.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and sitting with me tonight. Remember, first in-person interview, maybe have some more. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But again, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you, vlog.